Apologists.
The Vatican never sleeps. They are always planning. They plan events and circumstances and political and religious moves decades, centuries, even millennia in advance. But the Bible tells us exactly what the final events will be. So you have to look at the events and collate them and compare them to prophetic interpretations. And where are we moving towards? Well, the Bible tells us that this system that controlled the world in the Middle Ages, that same system will control the kingdoms at the end of time. So there must be political moves to get the kingdoms in line with its agenda. And this must be on a universal scale. And there must be religious moves on a universal scale to get everybody to accept the primacy of the papacy. And once the political and the religious issues are in harmony again with one another and with the Vatican, then she will again control events as she did in the Middle Ages. So you have to ask yourself, are there global events which are taking place? And the answer is yes. If you take the issue of climate change, is there an encyclical from Rome which says that climate change must be addressed universally? And the answer is yes, Laudato Si, which the Pope Francis wrote. Does it contain religious elements? Absolutely. It contains the Eucharist worship. It contains the Trinity. It contains Mariology. It contains what the saints wrote. It contains issues of worship and which day, Sunday, for example. It contains all those elements, and you have to ask yourself the question, what has the Eucharist got to do with climate change? You have to ask yourself, what has Mariology got to do with climate change? You have to ask yourself, what has Sunday keeping got to do with climate change? But all of those elements are in Laudato Si. Then you have to go and check out and see who's talking about Laudato Si. Who is saying that this agenda of the Vatican must be implemented on a worldwide scale? And then you find the religious systems, one after the other, as you go through them, endorsing what the Pope had said. And you will find, if you click on the Parliament of World Religions, which is a conglomerate of all the religions in the world, what are they saying? They're pushing the agenda. And then you go to the political arena and you ask yourself, well, what is the political world saying about this? And then you have the Paris Accord, and they all agreed, but some countries did not agree. The United States, for example, didn't want to go along with it. Is there any move in that direction? Then you get to the G20 summit, and you find out what did they do about it. And you'll see that the role players, the religious role players, the economic role players, the sporting role players, they were all involved in that. Was there any definitive action thereafter? Yes, there was. So obviously the agenda is moving in that direction. Now, how are you going to implement it then on a worldwide scale? Well, you have to enforce these accords. And as the Vatican says, it has to be written in red letters. What does that mean? Well, if you take your Bible and you see what is written in red letters, then it's the words of Christ. So the words of the representative, so-called, of Christ are also written in red letters, politically speaking. So are they going to implement these things? Under what basis? And then you look at what the agenda of the Vatican is, and you check it out on vatican.va, what are they doing? And you will see that one of the buzzwords for our time is common good. And what is common good? Well, something that is common good for all humanity. Climate change issue is obviously for the common good, because everybody must be on board.
Mm-hmm.
And so you put those things together and you can see that they're very busy. Are they aligning the religious systems? Well, absolutely. Hasn't Pope Francis signed an accord with the imams that they will work together? Hasn't he, in the ecumenical movement, gathered all the religious role players under one roof? And the answer is yes. So are we progressing towards this final goal of the papal agenda? You have to be blind if you want to say it's not so. Of course it is so. Prophecy is being fulfilled before our very eyes. And people are ignoring the facts. If we just collate the information, we can see that there is tremendous progress in the papal agenda for world domination on every level.